So hello guys, welcome to our channel Naiperian Solutions. So in the last lecture we have seen the nucleic acids DNA and RNA. So today we are going to discuss regarding the amino acids and proteins. So शुरू करते हैं amino acid and proteins. So what are the proteins? Proteins are nothing but the building block of the amino acids, right? These are the building block of amino acids, but which are greater than 50 amino acids, right? These are nothing but the building block of amino acids which are greater than the 50 amino acids. And what is the general structure of amino acids? Amino acid is nothing but which is having the one carboxylic acid group and one amino group, and here is the R, right? So we can replace this R with different aliphatic groups or aromatic groups to get the different amino acids. So these are the different amino acids. So first of all, the first classification we will see the aliphatic amino acids, right? Aliphatic amino acids, in that glycine, alanine, valine, leucine and isoleucine. These 5 amino acids are the aliphatic amino acids. So you can remember easily with GAVLI, right? So glycine, right? One more important point, that for one letter symbol is very important regarding the GPAT point of view. So most of the times in GPAT they asked question on the what is the one letter symbol for the amino acid. Then we will see the features of the aliphatic amino acids, right? So which are aliphatic amino acids? Glycine, alanine, valine, leucine and isoleucine, right? So first of all the glycine, right? So what about the glycine? The one letter symbol is G. That is the structure of glycine. Just we have seen the general structure of amino acid, in that R we can replace, right? So here that R we replaced with hydrogen atom only, means NH2, CH2 and COOH, right? So that is the glycine. Very important feature of glycine, it doesn't have any chiral center, so it is not optically active amino acid. This is the only amino acid which is not active optically, right? Means which doesn't have the chiral center. Next one is the alanine. One letter symbol is A. That is the structure, that R is replaced with the methyl group here, right? Then next one is the valine. What about valine? Valine is nothing but the isopropyl group here. What is the one letter symbol? That is the V. That is easy to remember. The next one is the leucine. In leucine there is a butyl group, right? This one, 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So which group is this? That is isobutyl group. In leucine there is a isobutyl group, right? That R is replaced with the isobutyl group. And very important point, the isoelectric point of leucine is 6. So we will see later what is isoelectric pH and all the things, but just you have to remember the isoelectric pH of the leucine is 6, right? And the last one from the aliphatic amino acid, that is the, what is last one? So that is isoleucine, and the one letter symbol is I here, and here is also butyl group, right? Secondary butyl group is here. And in isoleucine there are 2 chiral centers, right? Very important point, there are 2 chiral centers in the isoleucine. Secondary butyl group is present and one letter symbol is I. So by looking the structure of leucine and isoleucine, there is one common point. The leucine and isoleucine have the same molecular weight, right? Same molecular weight. So these 2 amino acids having the same molecular weight, leucine and isoleucine. Next, okay, So in the next, hydroxy amino acids. So there are only two amino acids, serine and threonine, right? Serine and threonine are the hydroxy amino acids, right? Here you can see OH group in both the amino acids. Here serine has one letter symbol is S, threonine is T, and the important point regarding the threonine is it is having the two chiral centers, right? Means isoleucine and threonine, these two amino acids are having the two chiral centers, right? Then next we will see about sulfur containing amino acids, very important, cysteine and methionine. Only two examples, cysteine and methionine. In cysteine one letter symbol is C, and for methionine one letter symbol is M. Very interesting structures. Cysteine contain the sulfhydryl group, right? What it is? SH is nothing but the sulfhydryl group, right? And this SCH3 is nothing but the thioether, right? So that is the basic difference in between the structure of the cysteine and methionine, right? One more amino acid, actually that is the derivative, so that is the cysteine, right? Spelling is also different from the cysteine, that is the cysteine. By the, so it contains the disulfide linkage, right? Means oxidation of cysteine get converted into the cysteine, which contain the disulfide linkage. So basically cysteine contains sulfhydryl group, methionine contains thioether group, and cysteine contains the disulfide linkage. So these two are very important. This one is just the oxidation product of the cysteine, right? Then next, the acidic amino acid and their amides, right? Means first one is the aspartic acid, right? And second one is the glutamic acid. Then asparagine is the just amide of the aspartic acid, and the glutamine is just amide of that glutamic acid, right? Okay, so what is the single letter symbol for aspartic acid? It is very important, D. For asparagine it is N, then glutamic acid it is E, and glutamine it is Q, right? These are the single letter symbols. Here is the structure. This aspartic acid and glutamic acid, so name itself indicate it contains the 2 carboxylic group, right? It contains 2 carboxylic group. Here in glutamic acid also 2 carboxylic group present, but the difference is that here beta carboxyl, in aspartic acid there is a beta carboxyl group, that this position is the alpha and this one is the beta, right? So beta carboxyl, because that is the basic structure, NH2COOH, that is the basic structure of amino acid, but in additional at beta position one more carboxyl group is there, so that's why aspartic acid is a beta carboxyl. Similarly in glutamic acid, here is the alpha, beta and gamma. At gamma position carboxyl group is there, so that's why it is a gamma carboxyl. So that is the basic difference between the aspartic acid and glutamic acid. A very important point, that amide, asparagine and glutamine, so that carboxyl group is just converted into the amide, right? COOH converted into CONH2, and aspartic acid is converted into the asparagine. Similarly glutamic acid is converted into the glutamine, that COH converted into CONH2, right? Then amino acid, there is only one acid, amino acid, proline acid, that is the proline. What is the single letter symbol? That is the P, and it contains the pyrrolidine ring, right? In structure we can see this one is the pyrrolidine ring, right? That is the only amino acid which is amino, right? Then next one, aromatic amino acid. So the aromatic amino acid, only 3 examples are there, phenylalanine, tyrosine and tryptophan. The single letter are very important because these all 3 are the different. Phenylalanine is F, tyrosine is the Y and tryptophan is the W. So similarly we can see the structure. Here is a phenyl group, right? Phenyl and this structure is the alanine, CH3 CH NH2 COH, means phenyl and alanine combined in the phenylalanine. Here just difference is that, means it's hydroxyphenylalanine, we can call it as hydroxyphenylalanine. Tyrosine is nothing but the hydroxyphenylalanine, right? Means at para position OH group. Just difference between these two structure is the hydroxy group at a para position. And here the indole ring, right? Here we can see the indole ring in the tryptophan. So this is very important actually, this tryptophan amino acid, right? Indole ring present. Then basic amino acids, right? So which amino acid are the basic in nature? So first one is the lysine, then arginine, then histidine, right? For lysine, symbol is K, arginine R, and histidine H. So by looking structure, here we can see that is the epsilon amino, right? It is the epsilon amino acid. How the positions are like alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Here is the epsilon. So at epsilon position there is the NH2 group, so that's why lysine is the epsilon amino acid. In arginine, here is the guanidine moiety is present, right? So which moiety is present? Guanidine moiety, so that's why it is the guanidino. And in histidine, here which ring is this? So that is the imidazole, right? That is the imidazole. Okay, then we will see some important points regarding the amino acids. So first of all, the average amount of nitrogen in a protein is 16%, which is determined by the Geldahl method, right? Which is determined by the Geldahl method. So as we know, Geldahl method is mainly used for the estimation of the nitrogen in the compound. So very important, Geldahl method. And how much? There is a 16%, right? Average amount of nitrogen in protein is a 16%. So some amino acids are glycogenic in nature, some are ketogenic in nature, and some are showing the both properties, right? So these are the examples, like G for glycine, alanine, methionine, and D for aspartic acid. Similarly in ketogenic, that is the KL, K for lysine, L for leucine, right? And for both, W is for tryptophan, I for isoleucine, F for phenylalanine, right? So most of the times question comes, which of the following are essential amino acids? So this point is very important, essential amino acids. So just you have to remember the trick, WHR TVF milk, right? What is the trick? That is WHR TVF milk. So these 10 amino acids are the essential amino acids. Then HR means histidine and arginine, these are the semi-essential amino acids. And one more important thing, very important, that we have already seen which two amino acids having the two chiral centers, that is the isoleucine and threonine, right? So glycine is having no chiral center. All amino acids having one chiral center, but isoleucine and threonine having the two chiral centers, right? So here are some properties. So amino acids are soluble in water. Melting point is 200 degrees Celsius. Why? Because it has the CONH linkage, and it is very difficult to break that CONH bond, right? So that's why the melting point is 200 degrees Celsius. Some amino acid having sweet taste, glycine, alanine, valine. Some one amino acid which is tasteless, that is the leucine, right? And bitter taste, that is the isoleucine and arginine. Optical property, except glycine, right? We have already seen glycine doesn't have any chiral center, so it is not active optically. Then the isoelectric pH, the pH at which molecule exists as a Zwitterian ion, right? Zwitterian ion means it carries no net charge, and this point already we have seen in leucine. What is the isoelectric pH of leucine? That is the 6, right? Next point, in strongly acidic pH, the amino acid is positively charged that is the cation, while in the strongly alkaline pH it is negatively charged, that is the anion. So basically इसको हम थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में समझते हैं. That is our structure of the amino acid, right? In acidic medium, so what are the acids? Acids are nothing but the which donate the H plus ions, right? Means that H plus ions will combine with NH2, so it will form the NH3 plus, so that is the cation, right? Means at low pH or strong acidic pH, our amino acid is in the cation form, but in a basic medium, our amino acid is in the anionic form, and these two forms are get converted into the Zwitterian form, right? Means these are the interconvertible, right? Next, some important points. First of all, collagen, right? We know collagen. So it contains the 4-hydroxyproline and 5-hydroxylysine, right? That single letter symbol is very, very important from the GPAT point of view, as well as all pharma competitive exams. Single letter symbols for the amino acids are very, very important. So you have to remember that all the single letters, right? Then D-glutamic acid and the D-alanine present in the bacterial cell wall. So as we know, D-alanine that is present in the like a bacterial cell wall, or we can see that penicillin and all inhibit the cell wall synthesis, right? So what it contains cell wall, that is the D-alanine and D-glutamic acid. So peptide bond, so it is always in the trans configuration, right? Peptide bond is always in the trans configuration. And one more important thing, the two adjacent alpha carbon atom placed at the distance of 0.36 nanometer, actually it is regarding the structure of that specific protein, right? 0.36 nanometer. Actually this point is very, very important. Reagents to determine primary structure of the protein, right? So how we determine the primary structure of protein? So first point, the complete hydrolysis of protein is done by the enzyme pronase. So complete hydrolysis is done by the pronase enzyme. The next point, cleavage of disulfide linkage, right, by the performic acid, right? Performic acid is used for the cleaving the disulfide linkage. What is the structure of performic acid? H C double bond O O OH, right? That is the structure of performic acid, and which is mainly used for the cleaving the disulfide linkage. Then number of polypeptide chain is determined by the dansyl chloride, right? Which chloride? Dansyl chloride. Then enzymatic cleavage is done by the trypsin. Then chemical cleavage is done by the cyanogen bromide. Then determination of amino acid sequence. Mainly two reagents are used in the determination of amino acid sequence. So in that, first one is the Sanger's reagent, right? What it is? 1-fluoro-2,4-dinitrobenzene. Here you can see the structure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1-fluoro-2,4-dinitrobenzene is nothing but the Sanger's reagent, and the second reagent used for the amino acid sequencing, that is the Edmonds reagent. And what it is chemically? Phenyl isothiocyanate. Here you can see the structure of Edmonds reagent, that is the phenyl isothiocyanate, right? Here are some important points regarding the structure, like that secondary structure. So secondary structure, we know that is the alpha helix and beta pleated sheets, right? So in secondary structure, each turn of alpha helix contains 3.6 amino acids, right, and travel the distance of 0.54 nanometer, right? Means the secondary structure. So how many amino acids for the alpha helix? There are 3.6 amino acids for each turn. And what is the distance? That is the 0.54 nanometer. The spacing of each amino acid is 0.15 nanometer. The right-handed alpha helix is more stable than the left-handed. Means right-handed is more stable than the left-handed. And the last one, proline disturb the alpha helix. Why? Because this is the only amino acid having the secondary NH group. Because all the amino acids are having the NH2 group. Proline only amino acid which is having the secondary NH group. Then synthesis of the amino acids. So very, very important synthesis. So first of all, Stricker synthesis, then Gabriel thalamide synthesis, and then Coop synthesis. So these three methods generally used for the amino acid synthesis. In Strickle, we will see one by one. In Strickle synthesis, there is this aldehyde. What is the starting material? Aldehyde. Okay, aldehyde in the presence of ammonia and hydrogen cyanide, right? Hydrogen cyanide and ammonia, we will get this nitrile intermediate, right? Or cyanide intermediate, and by the hydrolysis of that intermediate, then we will get our amino acid, right? Because generally we know the hydrolysis of cyanide, what we will get, that is the carboxylic acid. So means just this cyanide group is converted into the carboxylic acid group in the Stricker synthesis. In the Gabriel thalamide synthesis, so firstly start with the thalamide, right? What is the structure of thalamide? That is the structure of thalamide. But actually how thalamide generate or how it will form, that is the generated from the phthalic acid, right? Phthalic acid, and phthalic acid get converted into the thalamide. In the presence of base, it will form this intermediate, right? And this intermediate will react with the alkyl halide, right? This intermediate when react with the alkyl halide, again we will get the another intermediate, and by the hydrolysis of that one we will get the primary amines. Means by the Gabriel thalamide synthesis we will get primary amines and amino acids, right? Then that after the treatment of base we will get that intermediate, right? So then that intermediate treat with the alpha halo acid, right? Here at the alpha position there is a halo group, that is the bromine, right? Means that intermediate we will treat with the alpha halo acid, then again we will get the another intermediate, and the by hydrolysis of that intermediate then we will get our alpha amino acid. Then Coop synthesis, it starts with the alpha keto acid. By the treatment of ammonia we will get imine, and then finally by the reduction of H2PD we will get the alpha amino acids. And the last and the important thing, different reactions to determine, right, for the different amino acids. So Biuret reaction, it is mainly used for the two peptide bonds, right, or two peptide linkages. What about ninhydrin reaction? It is mainly used for the alpha amino acid, right? Xanthoprotic reaction, it is mainly for the aromatic amino acids. Done. Then Millen's reaction and Folin-Coicaltu test, it is mainly used for the tyrosine, right? Mainly used for the tyrosine. Then Hofkin-Cole reaction, it is mainly for the indole moiety, and which amino acid having the indole moiety, that is nothing but the tryptophan, right? Sakaguchi reaction, it is mainly for the gonadino ring, which amino acid having the gonadino ring, that is the arginine. Then nitroprusside reaction, it is mainly for the cysteine, right? Nitroprusside and sulfur test, because this amino acid contain the sulfur. And Pauli's test, it mainly contain the, it is mainly for the imidazole ring, and which amino acid having the imidazole ring, that is the histidine, right? So these all are the different tests, and for which amino acid, so that is the very important regarding the which test is for which amino acid. Tyrosine is for Y. Okay, then we will see one more important point. So that we have seen the essential amino acids, right? We already seen essential amino acids, right? So what are those? That is W, H, R, T, V, F, M, I, L and K, right? What is W? W is nothing but the tryptophan. H for histidine. R for arginine. T for threonine. V for valine. F for phenylalanine. M for methionine. Right? I for isoleucine. L for leucine. And K for lysine. So these are the list of the essential amino acids, right? Glycine is optically inactive, semi-essential amino acids are histidine and arginine. Two chiral centers, that is isoleucine and threonine, very important, right? Then what are the some important points regarding the amino acids? That amino acid, so that is the proline, right? So these are the all are the important points regarding the amino acids. So today we have covered all the amino acid chapter from the biochemistry, right? In the next lecture we will see the another topic from the biochemistry. So guys, please share, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, लाइक कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए.